Hello everyone, my name is Denise Schneider and I would love to share with you the story of my daughter, Jessica, who ended her life on September 22nd, 2011. Jessica was born on November 24th, 1991. Born 5 weeks early, she was a very bubbly, healthy little girl. A little girl that I had always dreamed of. A little girl that I would be able to put in pigtails, put in pretty dresses, on a pedestal for the whole world to see. I loved that little girl. Jessica was very bright, so we had decided that we would put her into the French immersion program where she learned to speak very fluent in both English and French. She excelled. As the years had progressed, she was still always a bouncy, healthy daughter who was always the life of the dance, life of the party, who always loved to laugh and joke around. She was awesome. When Jessica was 13 years old, we had been camping. A day that I wish would have never have happened. I knew something was wrong that day. What was wrong? I don't know. I went inside the trailer because we had been camping at that time with my parents, and we had just finished enjoying a family meal. I went inside the trailer where I found Jessica, who was acting different. She was grabbing midair, her tongue hanging out of her mouth, and me not knowing what was going on or what was happening to my little girl. I yelled at my mom to call 911. Police, fire, and ambulance came, and my whole world started to fall apart. They were trying to revive my daughter, who was becoming unconscious. They placed her in an ambulance and me in the front seat. As we were driving to the hospital, they had to pull over and meet up with advanced paramedics due to the fact that they were starting to lose her. A moment I will never forget, hearing the paramedics scream, "Hurry, we're losing her." They pulled over and advanced paramedics got in with her, and they put me on the side of the road where I waited for a minute or two for a police officer to pick me up, who assisted me to the hospital. At the hospital, I just kept saying, "I want to see my little girl. I want to see her." Finally, the moment came when I was able to speak with the doctor, which it felt like eternity while we were waiting. I went into the office, or into a room with her, with the doctor at the hospital, who had told me that they had called for the medevac, my daughter was on life support, and that she was going to pass that evening, that I needed to prepare. What mother should have to sit and think, what am I going to dress her in? What kind of flowers am I going to have? How's my life ever going to go on without one of my babies? So at the hospital in Toronto where we had met, it was the hardest time. I'm sitting there beside her watching my little girl lay lifeless. No parent should ever have to see that. So a day or 2 days had passed, and they wanted to try her without the ventilator to see if she was able to handle breathing on her own. It was such a sad sight to see. When they removed the breathing tube, I watched my daughter gasp for air, trying to breathe on her own. While still standing beside of her, I had said, while rubbing her head, "Honey, everything's okay. Mom's here. Mom will help you." Through her closed eyes, tears began to run down her face. She says, "I want to die. He did this to me." I didn't know what she meant at the time. I thought everything was okay. What 13-year-old wants to die? What 13-year-old wants to end their life? What happened to them? What makes them think like that? I didn't know. So after a few weeks of treatment, she came home, and only by the grace of God did the drugs that she had taken mixed with the alcohol. She had no complications. She survived it. Then she became very self-harmful after that. Approximately 30 cuts in the end on each arm. She had cuts on her legs, her abdomen. Anywhere that she could cut and hide, she did that. It was such a horrible, horrible sight for a mother to see. I will say that. When Jessica was 17, she became pregnant. And at the time I thought, I don't know. I don't know how we're going to get through this. She's self-harmful. She got into drugs, trying to hide the pain that I now know of. I have been to dope houses by myself trying to save my daughter. It's not a life that I lived, and it wasn't a life that I was going to allow my children to live either. I believed in them as who they are. So I fought really hard to save her. So when she got pregnant, she had stopped all the self-harm. She was very happy, bubbly. She gained weight. She looked awesome. On September the 9th, 2009, she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. That baby was her world. He was the center of her attention. He was her life. I was so proud of the woman that she had become, proud of the mom she was becoming when I didn't have any hope. And I was scared. So as Hunter was growing up to be into a little 2-year-old, things were going awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better daughter or a better mommy for my grandson. She was perfect in every way. In September 2011, that's when my world crashed. Hunter had just turned 2, September 9th, 2011. On September 17th, 2011, we had noticed a huge change in Jessica's behavior, and that she was going back to the self-harm. So I was trying to do whatever I could again to save her, to help her, and to help my grandson. We had decided that Hunter would come live with us, and so that we could help her receive the help she needed to become better and healthy. She was mentally depressed. She had a lot of mental health problems. During a week, from a Thursday to a Thursday, I had taken Jessica to the hospital several times because of a drug overdose. I continuously said to the doctors at the hospital, please keep her. She's at risk for suicide. Even the police were on my side saying, we need to keep her because she's at risk. She has a history of it. We know. The doctors would look at me, they would pat me on the shoulder, and they would tell me, Mom, you're just overreacting. She's okay. She hasn't displayed any signs, or she hasn't said anything. She's 19, so, she can make her own choices. But how can you make the right choices when you're not in the right frame of mind? How can you make right choices when you're impaired by drugs and an overdose? Each time they would send my little girl home, 6 times I did that in 1 week. 6 times I heard them say to me, you're overreacting, take her home. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I knew that she was suffering and she was hurting, but nobody would listen to me. Nobody would help. Then we came to September 22nd, 2011. I was at Jessica's home, where there was other people there with me to support me and to support her as well. And Hunter had been in daycare that day, so we knew he was taken care of. So on that day, we had gone to her house, and she was laying lifeless on the couch. her face buried into the crease of the couch at the back. I yelled her name. I would shake her. I would yell her name, and no response. I didn't know what to do. I thought that was the end. I had lost my daughter. After a few moments had passed, after yelling and shaking her, she had finally turned over and opened her eyes. When she had opened her eyes, it was like my daughter wasn't even there. She wasn't the same person. Where did my little girl go? I was asked, do you want us to call an ambulance? I said, no, why bother? They'll just send her home anyway and tell me that I'm overreacting. But I knew that I had to do something. I stayed with my daughter. I held her. I told her how special she was, how much she was loved, and how much her little boy needed her. Hunter needed his mom to tuck him into bed, to get him up in the morning, and read his bedtime stories, and all the fun things that a mother and son can do. I didn't want to believe. I didn't want to give up hope. I had hope that she was going to get better and things would be okay. I held her that day so tight in my arms, and I continuously said, honey, I love you. I love you, honey. She hugged me back that day, and she said, Mom, I love you. It was the last words I've ever will hear from my little girl. I told her that I was going to go and pick up Hunter from daycare. And so I said, honey, I'll give you a call later, okay? And I said, you're going to be okay, sweetheart? And she said, yeah, I'm okay, Mom. I turned away, not knowing what the next few hours were going to bring. As I was standing at home, in front of the kitchen sink preparing for our dinner, I kept thinking, I should call her. I should go back over to her place and check on her. And I kept saying, well, maybe after supper I'll go. It was too late. Hunter was at our house, and his dad was there visiting with him. Wonderful person he is. Great daddy. And Hunter, who is so kind-hearted, loving, well-behaved little boy. A true gift. Laid on the floor, he kicked, he screamed, and he would just continuously bash his head off the floor, not knowing what was taking place. I said to his dad, would you like to take him upstairs and we'll go ahead and give him a bath and try to get him settled? I guess he had a long day from being at daycare and being outside and all that fresh air. At least that's what I thought. We played with Hunter in the bathtub that day. And we played and we played and we joked around and we sang with him and all those fun special things. We took him out, we were getting him dressed, and there was a knock on the door. A knock that no parent should ever have to hear. I just thought it was just the little girl, my younger children, their friends coming to see if they could come out and play. It was a beautiful day. Why not? But no. I was told to come downstairs. There was someone there that needed to see me. I proceed down the stairs, and at the bottom of my stairs, at the front door, stood 2 police officers. I looked at them and I said, what did she do? And he said, can we speak to you outside, please? Because the little girls were standing there listening and they wanted to speak alone. We proceeded out the front door where I had noticed a black Escalade was sitting with 2 people in it, male and female. I said, why are those people staring at us? Who are they? The police said, it's okay, they're with us. Not knowing that in 2 minutes from that moment, what they were going to say to me. I said, what did she do? And the police officer looked at me and he had said, I am so sorry Jessica had taken her life. My baby girl had hung herself. I screamed, "Why? You got the wrong person. This isn't true." There was no way. I ran back into the house and I had to call my mom and my dad, two of my very best friends. My husband was there. It was great. I had his wonderful love and support, along with my children. My sisters all came. But most of all, I had her little boy. A little boy that I held in my arms and cried. How was I ever going to tell him that Mommy was never coming back? I didn't know. I was confused. I was lost. And the why? Why? Why didn't I see this? Why did I turn and walk away? Why didn't I stay there that day? Only God knows why. And then it was time to make the arrangements for my little girl. And before they removed her body from her home, they allowed me to go in and see her. I needed to see for myself that it was my baby. The worst day of my life. I would do anything to have her back. Anything. Absolutely anything. The day that was her service, I couldn't have asked for a better thing and more beautiful for her final goodbye. She was covered in all of those tiny little cinnamon hearts that you get at Valentine's Day. That was one of her favorite things to eat, so we had to have it there. Her, my daughter-in-law, a very special friend, and I, we would all sneak out for Chinese food. We wouldn't tell anybody that we'd go out for lunch. We'd have all these full bellies and go home and try to eat supper with our families and not let on that we were so full. So the day of her funeral, my daughter-in-law, my best friend, and myself, we got Chinese food and we went to the funeral home and we had one last meal with her. I could only eat about a couple bites, but I did it for her. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to drink. I just wanted to lay down and die with her. How was I going to go on? How do I say goodbye? I didn't know. As time progressed, little Hunter stayed with me for about the first 8 months after his mom's passing, because I wasn't ready to let go. I couldn't. I wanted to spend every moment with him. I never wanted to let go. But after seeing how sad Hunter was all the time, missing his mom and his dad living away, I had to make the right choice and let him go. I had to let him go live with his dad. On Mother's Day in 2012, our little boy went to live with his daddy. Hunter's got the best daddy ever. He's a true, true dad. Thanks, Mark. After not knowing how to cope with the loss of my daughter, because I was going crazy, I decided to start a group called Breaking the Silence. I didn't want other parents to have to feel what I went through. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair that these children of ours are suffering in silence. They're not telling anybody what's going on. They need our support. So that's when I went to my family and I had asked them to help me with this suicide awareness walk. It was a hard day. Sure was. Reliving the memory of her in that day. Hunter sending those balloons to heaven. For his mommy, the moment that we began our walk. It's torture. I don't know how to live. So we proceeded with the bake sales, the suicide awareness walk, light the night on Suicide Awareness Day. All we want to do is try to help other people. And I can't save everybody. But I hope to save one life. Just one. And I know that I've done my job in memory of my daughter. With any monies that's raised from our walks or any event that we hold, we use that money to erect billboards with her picture on it, a local person that has also committed suicide, and our local crisis number. I want that number big. I want it out there. I want everybody to see it. I want that number to be embedded in everybody's mind. A number that they know it's safe to call and ask for that help. Today is in February 13th, 2014, and we're getting ready to plan our 3rd annual Suicide Awareness Walk. Once again this year, Hunter will start the day off with releasing his balloons to heaven to his mom. I still don't know how to ask Hunter some days. I don't know. He's 4. I know he hurts. I know he talks to his mom. I don't know what to say half the time to him. I don't know. But I know that with the strength of everybody around me and the love and support from my family, that we will get through this together. And in December 2013, for Christmas Day, I wanted to end my life. I couldn't go on anymore. I wanted it all to end, the pain to go away. I had my rope picked out. I had the date. I had everything planned. And that's when I thought to myself, as much as I am hurting, I am going to be hurting everybody else along with me. I couldn't do that to my family. I couldn't do that to my parents, my sisters, my husband, my children. But I just didn't know how to go on. It's a struggle every day. Every day is a challenge. Every day is a new memory that will surface just thinking of her. And there's not a moment that goes by in my life that I do not think of her every day. So I'm asking everyone today to please join us on June 28th, 2014 at 3 p.m. at Riverside Park to show your support. You don't have to walk, and that's okay. We just want to see everybody join us. Join us to offer support to the people of loved ones who have passed, to people who are suffering in silence and trying to help them make a difference and not choosing to take their own lives. So once again, I'm asking that everybody come out. Just remember that you are never alone. Speak up and reach out, because there are so many people that love you, and I understand that it's hard and you feel like there's no hope, but there is. I want to do whatever I can to help save another person. I don't want another mother, father, grandparents, brother, sister, aunts, uncles, their own children. I don't want anybody to know what the pain is. They don't deserve that. They need you. Please speak up and reach out. We love you. Thank you.